Hey, what's up, GW coming to you live? It is officially a new year. It's 2022. Can y'all believe that? We actually survived last year, which was really, really messed up for lack of a better word. I don't even want to go into it, but, you know, a couple of quick things before I talk about what I'm going to talk about. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new movie that's going to be premiering on Netflix, has apparently leaked some footage of the character Sally Hardesty Enright. If you guys remember, if you guys, go back into your memory banks there, Sally Hardesty was the lone survivor of the first film set in 1974. She was the girl that, ran out of the house, Leatherface chasing her, and then does the famous, dance with the chainsaw in the middle of the road. Now, couple of things. If you go by the second, third, and the very abysmal fourth film with Matthew McConaughey, Sally Hardesty's hardly mentioned or shot at, and they don't even give her any recognition. The general consensus of her character was she died in a mental institution. But Netflix has apparently decided to pull back the curtain and take her out of that situation. And we got our first glimpse of the character of Sally, which I got goosebumps because I want them to make her like the Laurie Strode, like the Jamie Lee Curtis character, Laurie Strode. I want her to come back and, give Leatherface one hell of a fight. So that was kind of interesting that they did not kill her off, which is pretty wild. What else is going on? Apparently, Guillermo del Toro's film Antlers is tearing up the box office. I haven't seen it yet, but I cannot wait. It's one that I am actually very anticipating to see it, and it should be pretty good. Anything from him is usually pretty good. If you haven't checked out any of his stuff, you guys need to check out Pan's Labyrinth. That thing is amazing. It was a couple years old, 5 or 6 years old. I don't know. I can remember buying it on Blu-ray. The only thing is it's subtitled, but it is a very, very awesome sort of horror fantasy movie that it's pretty wild. Definitely check that out. So, and the big news out of the horror community is the lawsuit between Victor Miller, the Friday the 13th lawsuit. Let me retract. The Friday the 13th lawsuit is over. Victor Miller now has control of the entire Friday the 13th universe, but only, guys, in the United States. So what does that mean for horror fans who want to see Jason resurrected on a big screen? Well, that means that a lot of work would have to be done, and Victor Miller would have to oversee everything. So it might be a couple of years before we see the hockey mask slasher back in action. In the meantime, you guys can go on YouTube if you are big Friday the 13th fans, and you guys can check out all the fan-made movies. Some of them are actually pretty cool. I remember when the lawsuit started, somebody did Jason versus Michael Myers. Fan-made movie where these guys actually took the time to make a very structured sort of Freddy vs. Jason-esque sort of movie with Michael Myers, the Haddonfield bus crashing in Crystal Lake, and it was pretty cool. So definitely, you guys want to definitely check that one out. So hopefully they'll get that lawsuit back on, or they'll get the movies back going again, and see where it ends up. Another thing that's happening in horror news all over the internet is Scream. Apparently is getting a revival or a continuation. I'm not quite sure. But I do know Neve Campbell is going to be signed on again as Sidney Prescott. So you guys can check that out. Ghostface is apparently big again. Ghostface apparently was the killer in the Scream films. If you haven't seen those were big in the 90s. Huge. They made about 4 of those, I think, with... who was it? Drew Barrymore, Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette. You guys should check those out. Oh, and speaking of Scream, one thing that I do want to mention is that Liv Schreiber, who plays Ray Donovan, was actually on the Scream films. A lot of people forget that. His character was Cotton Weary. And if you guys have Showtime, coming in January, in just a little bit, the Ray Donovan movie is premiering. If you remember right, guys, Showtime left Ray Donovan at season 7 and left it open-ended, and a lot of fans got pissed off, including myself, my wife. My wife loves that show, because there was no conclusion to basically anything. It left you wondering. Then there was a long debate of whether or not they were going to come back for season 8 and this and that. Well, apparently, guys, they shot a movie. And I hope the movie's at least 2.5 hours and we get everything wrapped up. Maybe a couple loose ends, but the major plot lines. Like, is Ray going to kill Mickey? You know, what's going to happen with all the money he stole? You know, a lot of things, if you go back to the 7th season, were left unanswered. So hopefully, I think it's January 14th, if I'm not sure, on Showtime. 12th or 14th, guys, I'm not sure. But definitely check out the Ray Donovan film. I can't wait to see it, and I really hope that they do a very good job of, you know, making this whole thing come to a head, because fans like me, my wife, and a million other people, we do want to see some sort of closure, you know, and that show's addictive. If you guys haven't seen it, if you guys do not have Showtime, you guys can watch that on Peacock with the premium package. I definitely recommend Ray Donovan. It's pretty damn awesome. Moving on. Now we got some tragic news. New Year's Day, Betty White passed away. And I was going to come on here and do a commentary, but every time I turned around, I mean, it was all over the TV. It was all over, you know, the internet news. Everybody was blowing up about Betty White. And I wanted to say something, but it seemed like anytime that I had turned on or I saw a tribute, everything was already said. And I kind of glanced at her Wikipedia page, and everybody knows her as Rose Nyland from the Golden Girls. That was her signature role. She was on that. She was also on Lake Placid. If you guys remember, she was on there. She was the one that had the famous line where she goes, "I'm rooting for the crocodile." You know, she always brought her... You could always tell that a role that she had, she brought her own style that no one else could ever do it. Like, you know, no one could ever play Rose Nyland except for Betty White on the Golden Girls. It wouldn't gel as much with the other cast members as it did. I mean, she played off everybody, and it was amazing to see the chemistry she had. And I was brought up on that show, and her character was one of my favorites. It was her and Dorothy and whoever Estelle Getty played. I can't remember. And Blanche, if you guys remember Blanche, Rue McClanahan, she was always the one that was going after the sex, was always trying to meet the people and everything. And it was kind of cool. You know, it was an illogical idea, but it worked, you know. Betty White was also on another movie that we saw called You Again. And she was the last surviving member of the Golden Girl clan. She was also the first woman to have her own, or produce a morning television show, you guys. I didn't know that. She also turned down a job on the Today Show, which was pretty interesting, you know, and she was one day short of her 100th birthday, or 1 year? I think it was 1 day. And it's sad because, like I said, whenever I was a kid, anybody who was homesick, you know, turned on the TV, let the TV play all day, and you'd see the Golden Girls. And no matter where you were, you kind of knew Betty White. You know, she was just one of those people that, you know, everybody knew about. And, you know, it's really sad that she is gone, because it seems like the end of an era. So anybody... You know, everybody was blowing up about Betty White, and I myself am a little bit saddened, Because like I said, this was a person who, you watched on TV, and it felt like if she was in the room with you, she would be that same person that you saw on TV. She was a part of a lot of people's lives in entertainment. She's been on countless movies. She's been on, like I said, The Golden Girls. She's, done things. And it's just really sad that she is gone. I mean, and Golden Girls marathons, as far as I know, I've seen pop up a lot, you know. But she's going to probably be on TV. Her character is going to live on TV forever. I can tell you that. And like I said, she was on Lake Placid. If you guys don't know the Golden Girls and do need your Betty White fix, definitely check her out. She was on Lake Placid. She was probably on a ton of other movies. I think I read she was on the Dick Van Dyke Show, apparently. Now, she had been acting since she was real little, which I didn't know. But, she will be missed. She was one of Hollywood's funniest and most talented women. And I don't know what else I could say to sort of give her any tribute, because everything that, I wanted to say has already been said a million times. But yeah, definitely, if you guys look, she had a very interesting Hollywood career. Check out her Wikipedia page. She was pretty talented and amazing, and for her time, she was one of the best actresses, that I saw. So, anyway, it's a new year, and we are going to basically see what this year brings. As far as movies go, I am anticipating the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as I just mentioned. Also, Gun Media, who produced the Friday the 13th video game and had to stop because of the lawsuit I just mentioned, actually is creating a Texas Chainsaw Massacre multiplayer video game for next generation systems. Now, being able to step into the shoes of Leatherface would be great. But Gun Media has went a step further and said, look, we're bringing the whole family this time. So what does that mean? Do you get to play as Leatherface's, in addition to playing as Leatherface, do you get to play as the psychotic hitchhiker, the out-of-his-mind whacked-out cook, played by the late Jim Sedow, who was very, very, very awesome in that role? Do you get to play as... the possibilities are endless if you start thinking. Do you get to play as Grandpa? Be slow, but maybe be effective with a little hammer, So it's going to be interesting to see. So keep your eyes peeled on that if you're interested. They also did promise single player, just like they did add with the Friday the 13th game. So maybe you can just pick Leatherface or a killer and just go after victims, just like in the Friday the 13th games, and rack up skill points. But who knows? I mean, who knows? So that's something to pay attention to. No date has been set on that, but it does look pretty wicked, And, hopefully we get out of this COVID shit this year. I myself want there to be some kind of major improvement with all this. And, I just want to get back to normal. I mean, schools are on remote learning. You have, people that are still fighting to get shots. You have new variants flying around. And it's just, I want there to be a breakthrough so that we don't have to live like this no more, I mean, think about it. My wife showed me a video she posted on Facebook of a stadium full of people. There was one guy dancing in between the bleachers, going up and down the stairs. And that might just be a distant memory. But that's the kind of stuff people want back. They want to be able to gather. They want to be able to have fun. They want their lives back. But I'm not going to sit here and preach, because I'm not the ones in charge of all this crap, and I damn sure ain't no politician. So I'm just telling you my opinion. Also, if you haven't checked it out, Joe Bob Ruins Christmas on Shudder. Definitely a pretty cool show. You get to See, a really interesting movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I want you guys to go figure it out. And that's about it. Halloween Kills is coming on 4K, and from what I understand, they did not remove the firefighting scene. They actually added an alternate ending, which I'm probably sure will be ruined for the people who didn't see it on YouTube, but I don't want to say ruined, revealed, I guess is a better word. So whenever I get the copy, I will check it out. Other than that, I want to give a big shout out to my coworker, Josh Shellatry. He's pretty awesome. Josh has CP, and I'll tell you what, the kid works as hard as any normal person I've ever seen in my life. And he's very dedicated, and I'm glad I could help him out. And I think that's the one thing that came good out of this pandemic, is that when you downsize and you're forced to work with somebody that you don't necessarily know, you form a stronger bond because you're with that person all the time. And Josh, if you do watch this, and I know you will because, you've got my YouTube feed, I want to say, man, hey, it's always awesome to work with you. Sunday morning at 3:30, and I'm sitting up here cutting a video. But, you be careful, and it's, anytime we could help you out, Dawn and I, and that's what life should be about, helping other people, in the smallest way, because people with problems, they shouldn't be brushed to the side, and people are really thankful, especially in this kind of environment with all the COVID and all this garbage. Some people are very appreciative, and Josh, you being one of those most appreciative people, and I just want to say, man, it's a blast working with you. I don't care what Matt says, I don't care what Rachel says, I'm telling you that I like working with you. And if they told me that I had to stop working with you today, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go up to Rachel, I'm going to say, look, that ain't happening. Because you and me, man, we cool. All right? Big shout out to my man John, JB, helping me through video games. Josh, I'll call him JR for short because I don't know if he wants me to reveal his real name. JR, man, I wanted to thank you for Demon Souls. You got me through a really hard spot, and I appreciate it. Other than that, it's supposed to freeze and rain today, so maybe it'll be a show later out there. Everybody's slipping and sliding around. But hey, man, I'm glad we all made it this far, and Happy New Year. And we're going to have to do it again some other time. So next time I get a chance, I'm going to pop back on here and tell you guys about some more new videos. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is supposed to be premiering in next month, February. So I'll be on top of all that because I'm going to be the first one to report on that. This is GW saying I'll catch you later.